Welcome if you're just joining us. This is Talk Sport on Global Television, and we are in the city capital. Now, moving on into the international scene. Chelsea eyes Martinez to replace Victor Osimhen. Premier League giant Chelsea has identified Inter Milan's Lautaro Martinez as a possible alternative should they fail in their attempt to sign long-term target Victor Osimhen during the transfer window. Osimhen has been on the Blues radar since the last summer, but Napoli managed to hold on to the Nigerian international. In December 2023, Napoli president Aurelio Di Lotto shares images of Victor signing a contract extension with the club until 2026 with a renewed release clause over 100 million euros. Wow. In a huge transfer blow to Chelsea, however, despite the extension, Chelsea never gave up on their pursuit of the Super Eagles striker, with several reports adding that the 25-year-old might not stay in Naples beyond the summer of 2024. Osimhen is one of the most sought-after strikers in Europe and has been linked with several clubs, including Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Liverpool. A few days ago, rivalries Chelsea and Arsenal were also said to test the waters for Napoli's striker with the offer of 90 million. Chelsea has splashed over €1 billion in the past 2 years and have not recouped a lot of cash with their ability to make big signings. Now, depending on making the big sales this summer, British publication Football 360 report that despite being regarded as a favorite to the land of Nigerian striker, but the Blues has another striker, Lautaro Martinez, as a backup, able to get Osimhen. So the Blues now are actually, trying to test the waters. They are not trying to put all their eggs in one basket. Do you think they would be able to land Victor Osimhen?
Yeah, Chelsea is a big team. They're World Club champions. They're Champions League winners. They're Premier League winners. Chelsea is a very big brand, so they have the financial power and muscle to get Victor Osimhen into their team. Don't forget that one of the legends of Chelsea, Didier Drogba of Cote d'Ivoire, constantly was in talks with Victor Osimhen during the African Cup of Nations because he's an ambassador of Chelsea, and so trying to lobby Osimhen to move to Stamford Bridge. What Chelsea is doing. It's a normal thing. Teams always have a backup. If you go for a player, you always have an alternative, so that there's one thing football agents do. They try to hike prices of their player. Once they know a big team is coming for this particular player, what they do, they tell you another big team is coming, so that they increase the asking price, so that the player gets more money, the agent gets more money.
Everybody is happy.
What they do is there's always an alternative, so that if you're priced out of a particular player, there's always an alternative.
That's going to fit in the budget.
Is world-class striker. He plays for the Argentine national team. He has been at the World Cup. Osimhen has never been at the World Cup. So if you want to look at on scale level, Martinez is a senior striker when it comes to, and he has delivered the goods on all fronts, especially in the Italian league. But Osimhen is younger and he's got loads of promise. So that's one key thing that probably the Chelsea team is also looking at. Okay, if we can get Victor Osimhen, who is our number one target, we've got Martinez by the wings. But I think everything depends on Victor Osimhen and his agent. If Osimhen says, I want to go to Stamford Bridge, that's going to be the first people they're going to negotiate with.
Okay.
It's only if the negotiation falls through, then they can now begin to look elsewhere. But the way it looks, Chelsea looks like a team Osimhen wants to go to, because he has been constantly in touch with Didier Drogba, and many times he made comments suggesting that he might be moving to Stamford Bridge. But time will tell. I think once the money is put on the table, already we heard that Chelsea, Arsenal have tabled 90 million euros as first offer. So it now depends on the president of Napoli to say, okay, I'm going to go with the 90 or I'm going to ask for more. Already, relationship between Osimhen and Napoli is already sour, especially after they did post a very damaging photos of him on the social media platform when he missed a penalty. And it had some racism coloration in it. And from that moment, Osimhen was now ready to leave Naples. So let's see what's going to pan out. I think his agent and Osimhen themselves will decide where he wants to go.
But where do you suggest he goes?
I think for Chelsea, it's not a bad team, even though they are yet to
regroup and recover from their backlash.
Yeah. So it's either he's going to Chelsea, but right now in football, money is the name of the game. As who brings the money, that's where most times they don't necessarily look at
trophies.
If it's going to fit in. Once the money is there, you definitely fit in. You see Jude Bellingham, how he went to Real Madrid. There was no guarantee
he was going to fit in.
He was going to fit in, but they just knew he was a world-class player. And like Madrid is called the Galacticos, what it means is only great players. So once Real Madrid come for you,
the initiative of being great,
your ranking goes up. You mean a great player. So Osimhen should be, if Real Madrid just smooth to say we want him. Oh boy, Osimhen is already there. I see Osimhen like someone who fits Real Madrid. His style of play, his build, his hunger, and if he plays under a manager as great as Carlo Ancelotti, then it's so say go be, like we say.
Say go be, he says. Moving on, Arsenal chief Edu compiles a 10-man striker list, including Ivan Toney, Victor Gresset, Alexander Isak as club priority signing a new frontman this summer. Arsenal will look to add top strikers to their artillery this summer, with sporting director Edu reportedly compiling a 10-man shortlist. His catalogue of hitmen include Ivan Toney, Alex Gresset, Victor, Sporting CP's goal a game, Tesmal. Arsenal have been prophetic this season without a recognized striker, scoring in the Premier League best 70 goals so far. Kent Havertz has often operated as a false nine when Gabriel Jesus has been injured, and despite struggling at first, he has started to thrive in the role. However, the Gunners will revert to the typical number 9 system as of next season and are narrowing down their search as per the Day Mirror. Ivan Toney and Alexander are the most recognized names in England because of their Premier League experience. Edu's 10-man shortlist: Ivan Toney, age 28, Brentford; Alexander Isak, 24, Newcastle; Victor Gresset, 25, Sporting CP; Victor Osimhen, 25 years of age, Napoli; Lasbio, Benjamin Sesko, Evans, and so on and so forth. The list kept going down to even our very own Boniface, Victor Boniface of Bayern Leverkusen. So looking at this list now,
they've got a fantastic list of players they want to get to Arsenal. But for me, Alexander Isak, who plays for Newcastle, for me, I don't think is a perfect fit for Arsenal. If you talk Ivan Toney, yes, Ivan Toney is someone who just has broken into the 3 lions of England. He has the spirit, he has the force, he has the skill set to fit into an Arsenal team. You look at Gyökeres, is also a good player. Victor Boniface, another fantastic fit for the Gunners. But I think for the Gunners, it's going to depend on if they are really willing to shell out the money. Most times Arsenal they want star players, but they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is. So I think it's going to be very critical. We've seen them, they brought in Gabriel Jesus from Man City, but he has not been able to deliver the goods. His injury here, injury there. And Kai Havertz, who they brought in from Chelsea has not been able to deliver the goods. He's on and off, but he's always at best when he plays for his national team. So they do need a top striker. Arsenal is known to having a traditional number 9, and so like the report says, in next season they will be looking to have a steady, a known number 9 for Victor Osimhen. I don't see him going there because I don't believe Arsenal would be willing to shell out that kind of large amount of money for Victor Osimhen. But time is going to tell. But for the roll call of strikers they're looking at, very quality strikers aside Alexander Isak, I think the other strikers fit the bill to play for Arsenal. So I think as the money is a factor, would they be able to splash the cash and get world-class strikers That's what the big question is.
So basically, if Arsenal don't get to spend big now, they will just be.
The truth is that if you want a quality striker, as it is currently, you have to spend big, because you're not just the only team going for that player. There are other teams, as low as Ivan Toney might be, he's, especially with his debut in the Lions team now, he has shown he's got quality. More teams, even Manchester United at a point, did look at Ivan Toney as someone who can deliver the goods. He has a way of holding play up and pushing defenders backwards, and he scores with so much ease. And so I think for us, they need to put their money where their mouth is in order to get a world-class striker.
Moving on, Granit Southgate revealed that Euro 2024 coaches are pushing UEFA to let them pick 26-man squad aimed players' welfare concern, giving Flying Stars a potential lifeline. Granit Southgate has revealed the size of the Euro 2024 squad could increase from 23 to 26 during the talk next month, in a move that could hand a number of players tournament lifetime. And the head coaches of national teams heading to Germany are set for exploring talks over the possibility of extending the limits of numbers of players that can be selected for the tournament, aimed a global concern about players' welfare. Talking about players' welfare, do you think the 23-man squad is not enough for a competition?
Yeah, I think it's not fair enough. If you look at the number of matches they play in, for instance, the Premier League matches, the number of matches they play all season.
All season, yeah.
And not just the Premier League, they play the Carabao Cup. They play
the FA Cup.
The FA Cup. There's also
Champions League, Euro League.
The Nations League also. And so they have up to 5-6 tournaments. They play almost at the same time. And so this takes a toll on players. You don't usually would get the best of players because they're already stressed up. And not forgetting their family obligations. There are also branding and commercial obligations they owe, then the charity and social works they also do individually. So this takes, and let's don't forget, we have qualifiers for their home country. They travel thousands of miles to go play qualifiers for their countries, and they have to now return back to base. And so when you look at the stretch of which players go through, then
they don't have enough time to rest.
To have a large squad. This gives the coaches and the national teams the opportunity to rotate their players, and also give certain players a time to rest, and other players the opportunity to stake claim for different positions in the national team. So I think Gareth Southgate and other managers for Euro 2024 are being very strategic, because that's the only way you can get the very best of any tournament. The 34th edition of African Cup of Nations is being described as one of the best tournaments, because we had quality play by teams and their managers. That's because the players were not burnt out already, and it allowed the players to express themselves, the coaches to also be able to get the best out of the players. But we also saw the shortfall, the disadvantage of not having a big squad. Because at the African Cup of Nations, even when Trust William Ekong was injured, we had less of alternatives for him to be subbed. So it tells you it's very key for the 2024 Euro 2024 to have a larger squad. And I want to believe UEFA and also the Professional Footballers Association will be speaking on that concern. We also know that injuries, also weigh in somewhere along the line. When players get injured, they need players to
continue step up.
I think it's something that UEFA should consider.
Yes, speaking about that still, because it's going to also give other younger players opportunities for them to be called upon to come and represent their countries. Because if they don't get to invite multiple players, like having extra players. Some persons, they'll just work with what they have, and then some players will end up ending their careers without even wearing their country jersey. So it's actually something UEFA should, and FIFA body should pay attention to, for all players, and then coaches to have extra, players and support to play in competition. Moving on, Kobbie Mainoo and Jude Brown among 4 England stars who have turned their run perfectly ahead of Euro 2024, right? But the Els joined Jack Grealish in sweating for his place. talking about Kobe Manu now, has he earned, is it safe to say that he has earned a place on the England team?
Yeah, obviously, there's no doubt that he's going to go to Euro 2024. He's on the plane to Germany as we speak, because obviously you could see that picture story where Gareth Southgate embracing him after he substituted the young man.
Yeah.
You must be something extraordinary for a national team as big as the Three Lions to invite you to camp, and not just inviting you to camp, you're giving an immediate debut.
Yeah.
And on your debut, you were outstanding against a very tactical team like the Belgian national team. And also remember, he was giving the commemorative cap.
Yeah. Which
Which
some legends has not even gotten. Yeah.
And so he's already blending into the team, and we saw his performance against Belgium. Amazing. He held sway in the midfield. He dictated the pace of the Three Lions. He decided where the balls and where the game should go, and that's key. That's what England has always needed. It's been a long time they got a midfield maestro. The last time they had one was Paul Gascoigne, who after his era, they are yet to get someone as magical as Manu, and Manu has filled that void already. So they don't have any reason not to take him to Germany.
Yeah.
So the question is not if he's going to Germany. The question is how many matches he
will
will
be playing.
Because he's going to be holding sway with Phil Foden in the midfield, in the midfield park. And so obviously he has done well for himself. And so we have to give credit to Manchester United, Harry Ten Hag, who saw the quality in him, gave him the chance to stake a claim in the Red Devils team, and now he's fast forward, he's in the Three Lions and on the plane to Germany.
Yeah, that's a good one, Kobe Manu. That's a loss though for us over here in Africa, mostly Ghana. I don't know what the Ghanaian FA did, and then they were just able to allow the England team snatch Kobe Manu away. That's something they should be looking out for, so we don't keep losing young and talented players to, the international community. Moving on, talking about White now. White wasn't in the squad. Ben White, yes, he wasn't in the squad because he got called upon, but he said he wouldn't be coming. He informed Southgate. But now, Gareth Southgate is saying that he would there's an opening for him in the team. That's if he wants it. Do you think it's nice for him to go, and then given the fact that he has returned back to camp, that's in Arsenal, training and then getting, ready for their match against Manchester United. Well, Manchester City, sorry.
Yeah, they had issues. Ben White and one of the assistant coaches have always had issues in the past. And for Ben White, he's an adult. If he decides to leave camp, he left camp for a reason. But if Gareth Southgate has come out to say the doors are still open for you to get back into the national team, I think Ben White should be smart enough to take the right decision, which is returning back to camp and then letting bygone be bygone, because you rather star for the Three Lions than for Arsenal. Your national team comes first before your club side. So hopefully he's lucky enough the coach still wants him to be part of the team because he brings quality and value, and diversity to the Three Lions team. And so hopefully he would have a rethink and return back to camp if all things being equal. But even if he doesn't, there are very capable replacements for him. But the danger of it is that if he loses his place in the national team,
he might not get it again.
He might not be so lucky to get it again. And don't forget, the World Cup is around the corner. There's the Nations League also around the corner. So for whatever it is, I think he has to think smart and make the right choice of returning back to the Three Lions.
Moving on now, we are flying all the way down to Spain. Not with juicy stories, though. This has to do with the Kiss Gate. So let's talk about Spanish prosecutor will seek 2.5-year prison sentence for Luis Rebels over the Kiss Gate scandal. And if convicted, the disgraced former FA president will pay the sum of 85,000 euros in compensation. The Spanish prosecutor has announced that they are seeking a 2.5-year prison sentence for the country's former FA chief Luis over the infamous Kiss Gate scandal.
All right. You don't kiss anybody you want to kiss.
You don't kiss anybody you want to kiss.
So, but I think in as much as it's sad how it's ending. Yes, I know it happened in the rush after the Spanish women team won that tournament.
Yeah.
But looking at the picture, sorry, Jaime was holding Rubiales when he gave her the kiss, and she didn't act like she was against the kiss. But I think when the media harped on it more, and they had women groups, they'll harp on it more and more, she was forced to make a statement. And for Rubiales, yes, he has lost a lot, lost the FA president, being the president of the Spanish FA, was a big loss for him at the time he came. But he also, I don't know if he was high on something on that day, because apart from that, there was another picture where they showed him grabbing his balls.
I know.
During that, so there was something I missed with him on that day. That day was just too terrible for him, and to pay £85,000 to Hermoso, that's a windfall for her. And so it tells you the advantages women have in Europe whenever such issues come out. But it's so sad that he wasn't able to reach a truce with Hermoso when that incident occurred. But a very, very sad story how the mighty
has fallen. It's a very sad story, and also very sad for us because time is no longer on our side. That's how much time can permit us to take today, and we'll be seeing you all tomorrow with bringing you amazing top stories from the rounds of football, tennis, and basketball. Any last words, Don Antonio?
Yeah, we're just looking at the kiss gate. There's this feeling like Hermoso and Rubiales, the FA former FA president, I felt like they might have had something in the past, because the quickness and how everything happened, I don't think it would have just happened out of the blue.
Because there were other players that he didn't.
Yeah, so I think they had something before then, but obviously I think it came out wrongly.
Probably he didn't come to the public to let us know that there was something going on. So we just wish him well, and that's how much time will permit us to take on today's edition, Talk Sports. See you tomorrow. Good morning.